Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the V-Spot. There's been a lot of reflecting that I've been doing, and one of the things that I recently landed on is this idea that I am currently living many of the things that I once prayed for. I am currently living many of the things that I once prayed for. And I've been thinking about this because as I've been working to accomplish new goals and as I've been imagining how it's possible to turn out some really big things that I'm up to now, and I was feeling like they're so far away, how is it all going to happen? I really grounded myself in this realization that in this very moment, day to day, I am absolutely living out many things that I once could not imagine, right? So as a school psychologist who spent 14 years at the Department of Education, I could not imagine a time where I was not going to be reporting to a school building on a day-to-day basis, and instead creating my own schedule, right? Doing the work that I love doing, learning how I'm able to do more of it. Right. And at one point, my lifestyle right now was out of reach. It was not a possibility. And yet I persisted and took one day at a time and did various levels of work, if you will, mindset work, legitimate work, all the different things to create what it is that I'm experiencing right now. And last week, this hit me, and it hit me pretty strong, because I was in a swirl and sort of stressing over some details about, next steps and future plans, and feeling as though some of the things that I was working on feel as if it's, just really, really far. And when I got to thinking and wanted to ground myself in the moment and landed on this realization that in this particular moment, in this particular season, a lot of the things that are part of my day to day and a part of my experience were once just a thought that was actually, far-fetched. And yet here it is happening. And the reason that I wanted to bring this to you today is because I wanted to bring you present to the fact that you have created results already. You have the capacity to set out and go after goals and then make it all happen, right? And when we're in the midst of the process, sometimes it feels as though it's so far away and it's impossible, but it's not, right? And in order to actually connect to our power and connect to what's possible, it requires us to get off of automatic pilot, off of the, usual programming, and tune in. And so last week was an opportunity for me to tune in. And when I connected with the realization that in this particular moment, I am living out dreams and goals that I once did not believe to be possible, it suddenly made everything that I'm currently working on and all of the things that I'm holding for my future so much more accessible. And so I wanted to come to you today in this particular way for a brief segment to remind you that you are living out some of the things that you once didn't believe to be possible. And with that, whatever it is that you're up to is going to happen at some point too, right? And so if you're anything like me, once you decide that you want something, you want it yesterday, right? There's this desire to bypass the process. And what if I told you that it's not about the destination, that it's absolutely all about your journey? How would that change things for you? Because what I know to be true based on the people who are part of the intentional healing and the V-Spot community is that you all are goal getters. You go after things, right? Because I know that to be true because I interact with many of you and you are creating different results in your lives on a regular basis. And so when we sometimes pull into the finish line, if you will, there's a tendency to think about what's next and not necessarily pause on what was once created. And I surely have done that time and time again. And I've been calling myself forward to be with what it is that I am currently creating, celebrate it, and remember that once upon a time, this podcast was just an idea that scared the heck out of me. And here it is, episode, I don't know what, right? We're in season 3, episode 19 or something of that nature. And this is more of a common practice now. And so for you, what is it that you are potentially thinking about creating for yourself? What is it that you want to go after? What seems so big that it scares you? And I want to remind you that you currently have results in your life that at one point or another did a similar thing. So when people say trust the process, it could be so annoying. Isn't that so annoying sometimes? Trust the process. It almost feels like a dismissal of, in some cases, of all of the different feelings and variables that came behind it. But it's not necessarily a dismissal. And it really today is my way of encouraging you to not just trust the process, trust yourself in your process, right? Because the same way you are currently with results right now that you once couldn't imagine and you once prayed for or manifested or only dreamt of or couldn't even dream of, it's the same way that those things that you're thinking about for your future will come true as well. Now, are they going to just ta-da land in your lap? No, it's a level of work that is required, right? But it reminds me of that saying, isn't it funny how day to day nothing changes, but when you look back, everything is different. If you commit to your goals, your dreams, your visions, and you take regular action day to day, it may feel like, you're sort of moving along, but there will come a point where you will look back and everything will be different. And you will be closer to all of the things that you want to call forward, right? And I want to encourage you, if you don't know what it is that you want to call forward, consider this the memo to take some time to sit down and be intentional about what you want to create in your life. What do you want to experience? What do you want to feel like? What do you want to go after? Because it can get really dangerous if you don't do that, because one day will turn to a week will turn to a month will turn to a year will turn to several, and you will just be in this, like automatic pilot sort of like go, go, go mode, and you won't be experiencing the magic that you're looking to experience. And for many of us, when we are children, we are encouraged to dream, right? We're encouraged to dream, to be creative, to sky is the limit. And then at some point or another, our dreaming is stopped and we're actually told the opposite message: to get serious, be practical, stop dreaming, be more realistic, right? And we're sort of prohibited from thinking about and going where like sky is the limit. And that's a very societal sort of, I don't know, trend that tends to happen. Consider this your invitation to start dreaming again. Sit down with a book in your hands, a journal, a piece of paper, and start to write about what you want to create, what you want to experience in your life. And trust and believe in yourself that as you journey, you will, if you commit to doing what it takes, soon have what it is that you are calling forward, right? Because when I sat down last week and really thought about the fact that like, whoa, you are with results that you once couldn't even fathom. And here it is. And so then when I pivot and look to the future, there's a different level of trust and faith and confidence and certainty and knowing that it will surely happen again. And that's so powerful, because when we're talking about manifestation and calling things forward, when you know that you will surely turn the things out, there's suddenly more of an importance in connecting to, well, what do I really want? Right? Because if I'm going to be taking action steps and putting in the work, and I know that things are going to be coming true for me, I want to hone in on the specifics of what it means for me to experience myself and like bring forth the fulfillment. And so this episode serves as a reminder in the one way, which is you are currently with things that you once couldn't imagine having. It also serves as a call forward to interrupt the usual programming and the busy flow, pause for a little bit, and be with what it is that you want to call forward, what it is that will have you experience greater levels of fulfillment, right? Greater levels of freedom. I talked about this several episodes back, the 4 F's, right? We want to ensure that we're experiencing fun. We want to make sure that the journey is fulfilling and that it has us experiencing ourselves as free, So what is it that you want to call forward? I say that oftentimes vague goals yield vague results. So if you're not thinking about what it is that you want to create for yourself, right? If you're not thinking about, well, if you're saying, I want to travel, but you're not thinking about, well, where do you want to actually visit? Then it will all stay very gray, and we can't guarantee that you'll get to those places to actually experience them. But when you're in a commitment to be with, I really want to travel, and I want to visit Italy, and I want to visit Amsterdam, and I want to visit Spain, and I want to visit, sky is the limit, right? It's more specific. So there's actually a placing of the order. So let's place the order, because otherwise everything's going to stay moving around in this very vague territory. And the journey is too short to not experience the things that you desire to experience. And so consider this episode an unexpected interruption in the flow of things to, number one, remind you that you have what it takes to turn your dreams out. As a matter of fact, you are living out a bunch of them. Take a moment, take some inventory and see, so that you can use it as evidence for what it is that you want to call forward in the future, and get specific on what it is you want to call forward in the future. So that's the premise of this particular episode. The ending of this episode is really a call to action and an open forum for any questions that you may have that can support you in clarifying your desires, honing in on the specifics of what it's going to take to get where you're going, right? And gather the evidence that you need so that you feel confident and certain enough that you're going to bring yourself where you're looking to go. So if there are any questions about how you can make your journey a bit more graceful, smooth, pleasant, all of the things, I am opening up the forum to have you reach out to me with any questions that you may have, where I can support you in getting a bit more clear so that you are able to create the life that you once dreamed of, maybe currently dream of, or haven't given yourself the opportunity to dream lately about, right? So let's be intentional about the lives that we live. Let's be intentional about the experiences that we create, and let's ensure that we increase our fulfillment factor as much as possible, because after all, if we are not fulfilled, what's happening? let's make sure that it's on the radar. So any questions, you could email Andrea at intentionalhealingandwellness.com, or you can inbox on Facebook and Instagram or LinkedIn and ask whatever it is that you want to ask. So thank you for being here for this particular episode. Remember, you already have evidence that you can totally turn out what you set out to create. And now it's time to really ramp up the dial of fulfillment and get clear on what's going to pack the punch. And let's get super intentional about paving the way for you to get there. So thank you for being with me in this particular episode. To be continued.